Hello and welcome to a live stream of classic poetry. Uh, if you're getting ready for bed, this is the perfect kind of way to wind down. Just listen to poetry before you go to bed. I won't do anything too, you know, charge of the light brigade-ish or anything like that, unless I read it at a bedtime volume. My name is Jake. I am a voice actor. I love classic literature, and I just like to read before bed. So we're going to start off tonight with She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face. The thoughts serenely express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, that tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. So, Lord Byron, She Walks in Beauty. Here's one by Thomas Campion called Beauty is Not Bound. Give beauty all her right. She's not to one form tied. Each shape yields fair delight where her perfections bide. Helen, I grant, might pleasing be, and Rosamond was as sweet as she. Some the quick eye commends, some swelling lips and red. Pale looks have many friends, through sacred sweetness bred. Meadows have flowers that pleasures move, though roses are the flowers of love. Free beauty is not bound to one unmoved clime. She visits every ground and favors every time. Let the old loves with mine compare. My sovereign is as sweet and fair. This is Thomas Campion. Beauty is not bound. Here's on the subject of beauty, how about William Shakespeare? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Anybody know what what sonnet that is right off the top of your head? Here is John Donne, Death Be Not Proud. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. John Donne, Death, be not proud. That's a good one. There's one by Oscar Wilde. Tread lightly, she is near under the snow. Speak gently, she can hear the daisies grow. All her bright golden hair tarnished with rust, she that was young and fair fallen to dust. Ladylike, white as snow, she hardly knew she was a woman, so sweetly she grew. Coffin board, heavy stone lie on her breast. I vex my heart alone, she is at rest. Peace, peace, she cannot hear lyre or sonnet. All my life's buried here, heap earth upon it. That's right, 18. Here's another one from William Shakespeare. Then hate me when thou wilt. Then hate me when thou wilt, if ever now. Now while the world is bent my deeds to cross, join with the spite of fortune, make me bow, and do not drop in for an after loss. Ah, do not, when my heart hath scaped this sorrow, come in the rearward of a conquered woe. Give not a windy night, a rainy morrow, to linger out a purposed overthrow. If thou wilt leave me, do not leave me last, when other petty griefs have done their spite, but in the onset come, so shall I taste at first the very worst of fortune's might, and other strains of woe, which now seem woe compared with loss of thee, will not seem so. William Shakespeare. Here's John Clare. I am. I am, yet what I am, no one cares or knows. My friends forsake me like a memory lost. I am the self-consumer of my woes. They rise and vanish in oblivious host, like shades in love and death's oblivion lost. And yet I am, and live with shadows tossed, into the nothingness of scorn and noise, into the living sea of waking dreams, where there is neither sense of life nor joys, but the vast shipwreck of my life's esteems. And in the dearest that I love the best are strange, nay, stranger than the rest. I long for scenes where man has never trod, a place where woman never smiled or wept, there to abide with my Creator, God, and sleep as I in childhood sweetly slept, untroubling and untroubled where I lie, the grass below, above the vaulted sky. John Clare, I am. Joyce Kilmer, Trees. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Courtney, what's going on? Courtney is a fantastic follow, hilarious lady. She's got an awesome TikTok, but also an awesome YouTube and Instagram. You got to follow her. She's a real Renaissance lady. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, that was a good. That one was written by a guy that got killed in World War I, which makes it sad, but it's so beautiful. You bet, Courtney. Here's one by Ben Jonson called Truth. Truth is the trial of itself and needs no other touch, and purer than the purest gold, refine it ne'er so much. It is the life and light of love, the sun that ever shineth, and spirit of that special grace that faith and love defineth. It is the warrant of the word that yields a scent so sweet as gives a power to faith to tread all falsehood under feet. Ben Jonson, Truth. My big, chunky poetry anthology. Hey, River, how's it going? Hope you're doing well this evening. Here's George Eliot. Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Very well. At Set of Sun by George Eliot. This is good kind of life advice. I really like this one. Yeah, that's a really good one. I really like that one. From I don't really know much of his poetry, but that one's one of my favorites of his. At Set of Sun by George Eliot. And somebody help me. I forget what's George Eliot's. That's a pen name for a lady, and her name is escaping me. And I always like to give credit to the actual author if we know her name. So help me out if anybody knows it. George Eliot, At Set of Sun. If you sit down at set of sun and count the acts that you have done, and counting, find one self-denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard, one glance most kind that fell like sunshine where it went, then you may count that day well spent. But if through all the livelong day you've cheered no heart by yea or nay, if through it all you've nothing done that you can trace that brought the sunshine to one face, no act most small that helped some soul and nothing cost, then count that day as worse than lost. This is At Set of Sun by George Eliot. And George Eliot's a pen name. Here's Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Yep, World War One sure did. There was a lot of great poetry that came out of it, and a lot of it is really good. Like some of it's very patriotic. Marianne Evans, thank you. That's the real name of George Eliot. Um, and some was very patriotic, and then some is very anti-war. You know, there's a lot of really thought-provoking and beautiful poetry on both sides, really. But that there's a lot of poetry, and generally, those stuff that I've read, a lot of it's either it kind of takes one or the other. It's either we're doing our duty with the war poetry, um, this is we're patriotic in our duty, or it's horrific. Here is Ella Wheeler Wilcox, With Every Rising of the Sun. With every rising of the sun, think of your life as just begun. The past has shrived and buried deep all yesterdays. There let them sleep. Concern yourself with but today. Woo it and teach it to obey your wish and will. Since time began, today has been the friend of man. You and today, a soul sublime and the great pregnant hour of time. With God between to bind the twain, go forth, I say, attain, attain. Oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Where did my head? Oh, here. That's a good idea, actually. And yes, I'm so sorry for your loss. That is, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that kind of burying a child. Him. Read that one. Let's read that one. Do not stand at my grave and weep. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am a thousand winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Beautiful. Amber, what's going on? Yeah, that's a beautiful and very, comforting poem. You bet, you bet. And yeah, I I can't imagine what you're going through, but my condolences. And that is a beautiful poem. Let's read El Dorado by Edgar Allan Poe. First time I ever heard this when I was a kid, and I heard James Caan quoting it to John Wayne several times in the movie El Dorado. All right, El Dorado by Edgar Allan Poe. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song, in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, he said, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow. Ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek for El Dorado. Good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Haney, what's the first name? I mean, I don't really have an end year. I mean, I love Mary Oliver, and she just passed a couple years ago. So, Seamus. I think I've done something by him before. Um, yeah, how about Blackberry Picking by Seamus Haney? Okay. Victoria, I will check. We'll figure that out in just a second. I don't know that one right off the top of my head. Um, she'll say, and if you might can help me out um, on the title of the poem that Victoria is referring to, that would be great. But for now, we'll read Blackberry Picking by Seamus Haney. Late August, given heavy rain and sun for a full week, the blackberries would ripen. At first, just one, a glossy purple clot among others, red, green, hard as a knot. You ate that first one, and its flesh was sweet, like thickened wine. Summer's blood was in it, leaving stains upon the tongue and lust for picking. Then red ones inked up, and that hunger sent us out with milk cans pea tins, jam pots, where briars scratched and wet grass bleached our boots, round hayfields. Excuse me. Round hayfields, cornfields, and potato drills, we trekked and picked until the cans were full, until the tinkling bottom had been covered with green ones, and on top big dark blobs burned like a plate of eyes. Our hands were peppered with thorny pricks, our palms sticky as bluebeards. We hoarded the fresh berries in the byre. But when the bath was filled, we found a fur, a rat gray fungus glutting on our cash. The juice was stinking too. Once off the bush, the fruit fermented. The sweet flesh would turn sour. I always felt like crying. It wasn't fair that all the lovely canfuls smelt of rot. Each year I hoped they'd keep. Knew they would not. Blackberry picking. Seamus Haney. Uh, premature. Okay, so that's a whole short story. You know what? I have a whole playlist. Um, what do you call it? On my YouTube channel. A link is in my bio. I've got, and I haven't done the premature burial. With Halloween coming up, I was about to record that one, but I just did the Telltale Heart. I've done Hop Frog. I've done the Pit and the Pendulum. I've done the Cask of Amontillado. I've done what was it? There's at least one more. Mask of the Red Death. And then I've done The Raven. I've done El Dorado. I've done Annabelle Lee. Alone, a few like that. And those are all on my YouTube. And those are too long for me to put on TikTok. So, but they're full length on YouTube if you like short stories and you like listening to me read. But that I will do the premature burial. That's actually on my upcoming list to do. No, I'm glad you mentioned that though. I, the a lot of times when I'm thinking, okay, which one do I do next? If someone says, "Hey, how about whatever," um, then a lot of times that'll be the next one I do. Uh, oh, that's really cool. Telltale Heart is that's a really interesting one. I'd be interested in your take on it. I just that's my latest recording of uh, what do you call it? Poe. That's my latest Poe recording. I think I posted it last week. Read that paragraph. I am not sure what you're talking about, Jubes. And how's it going? Hope you're well. If you could help clarify, I might could do it. I'm going to do Elizabeth Barrett Browning while I wait. This one is called Grief. And we've spoken of funerals and such a couple of times, but I really like this. When I lost my dad, this poem kind of helped me. Teaching theater, very cool, very cool. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. That's mighty tough, losing a parent. This one is called Grief by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I tell you, hopeless grief is passionless, that only men incredulous of despair, half taught in anguish through the midnight air, beat upward to God's throne in loud access of shrieking and reproach. Full desertness and souls as countries lieth silent bare under the blanching vertical eye glare of the absolute heavens. Deep-hearted man, express grief for thy dead in silence like to death, most like a monumental statue set in everlasting watch and moveless woe till itself crumble to the dust beneath. Touch it. The marble eyelids are not wet. If it could weep, it could arise and go. Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Grief. Well, that's do you know what part? That's pretty long. That's like a whole book. I mean, it's a great book and it's super cool and it's sort of just his telling of going out and building a cabin in the woods and living really simply for like 2 years. I mean, it's a really cool narrative. Where am I? Oh, there it is. Mm, well, in my case, it was sheer quiet. I felt like she was writing about me. Like it couldn't have been any more sad. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I felt very like she was like she had felt what I had felt before. I don't know if she had, but I felt that way. And that's one thing I like about poetry. Sometimes it makes you feel like oh this poet has been through what I've gone through, and they're describing it in a really in a accurately in a great way. Like I thought I was the only one that ever felt this way, but apparently I haven't. They felt this way too. Yeah, you're not alone. Exactly. And yeah, of course, it's not just poetry. It could be painting, music, whatever. Um, E. E. Cummings, I carry your heart. That is a good one. Let's read that one. All right, E. E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are, my world, my true. And it's you or whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. Good poem. Dachshunds, greetings. Very cool. How's it going? Big red one, duty first. Yeah, Victoria, I think grief kind of it's a monster, it'll just attack you in different people, different ways, I think. You're very welcome. Here's somebody I forget who said it. Somebody said Emily Dickinson. was their mom's favorite. Um, okay, yeah, here we go. Mom's favorite. Here is Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Miss Emily. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers. The So my phone is about to die. I am actually streaming on TikTok and YouTube. What I like on YouTube is I can record these and then post them as lives in sort of a little poetry podcast type thing I have up there. So um, I'm about to get off of TikTok because my phone's almost toast, but I'm going to keep reading on uh, YouTube for a few more. Kristen, yes, you missed it. Google isn't going to be a think anymore, huh? I'm not sure what that means. Well, you haven't completely missed it. Google isn't going to be a think anymore. Google podcast. I'm still not sure what you mean. It'll. It's a. It's. I say podcast. It's in podcast form. You know what I mean. So yeah, it's not like an RSS feed through Blueberry or something like that. This is just on YouTube. Eric, great to see you. And yeah, Kristen. Okay, tomorrow, 10 o'clock or a little after Central Time. I'll be I'll be back on here. That's the plan. Okay, so I hope to see you there. But yeah, if you have if you just need to hear a few more, because I am going to read some more poetry, you can check the YouTube link in my bio. But if not, I will see you some other time, maybe tomorrow night. So I bid you all a very pleasant eve, and talk to you later. All right, so I'm cutting my TikTok off. My phone is dying. But I'm going to read a few more poems on here. This one is called Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. It little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet in dole unequal laws unto a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone, on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades vex the dim sea. I am become a name, for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. I am a part of all that I have met. Yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world, whose margin fades forever, and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life, life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains. But every hour is saved from that eternal silence, something more, a bringer of new things, and vile it were for some 3 suns to store and hoard myself, and this gray spirit yearning to desire, to follow knowledge, like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. This is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties, decent not to fail in offices of tenderness, and pay meet adoration to my household gods when I am gone. His works, he works his work, I mine. There lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, there gloom the dark broad seas. My mariners, souls that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Death closes all, but something ere the end, some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. The long day wanes. The slow moon climbs. The deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much, though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Lord Tennyson, Ulysses. Here is Percy Bysshe Shelley, Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." It was Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. Here's John McCrae, In Flanders Fields. And now, really good to see you. Really good to see you. It's been a little bit. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. John McCrae, Canadian Lieutenant Colonel Medical Officer that was killed in action in 1918, I think. Let's find us another one. Just read Ulysses. We'll read another Lord Tennyson. Um, Tears, idle tears. Tears, idle tears. I know not what they mean. Tears from the depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes in looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. Excuse me. Fresh as the first beam glittering on a sail that brings our friends up from the underworld, sad as the last which reddens over one that sinks with all we love below the verge. So sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. Ah, sad and strange, as in dark summer dawns the earliest pipe of half-awakened birds to dying ears, when unto dying eyes the casement slowly grows a glimmering square, so sad, so strange, the days that are no more. Dear as remembered kisses after death, and sweet as those by hopeless fancy feigned on lips that are for others, deep as love, deep as first love, and wild with all regret. O life in life, the days that are no more. Tears, Idle Tears by Lord Tennyson. I've read several out of that one. I might. Let's see, I've got a iPad or whatever, but I like reading out of hard copies if I can. Here is Walt Whitman. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Beautiful cover. Mary Oliver. Owls and Other Fantasies. And Emily Dickinson. Two butterflies went out at noon and waltzed upon a farm, then stepped straight through the firmament and rested on a beam, and then together bore away upon a shining sea, though never yet in any port their coming mentioned be. If spoken by the distant bird, if met in either sea by frigate or by merchantman, no notice was to me. Emily Dickinson. Here's another Emily Dickinson. We grow accustomed to the dark when light is put away, as when the neighbor holds the lamp to witness goodbye. A moment we uncertain step for newness of the night, then fit our vision to the dark and meet the road erect. And so of larger darkness, those evenings of the brain, when not a moon disclose a sign or star come out within, the bravest grow a little and sometimes hit a tree directly in the forehead. But as they learn to see, either the darkness alters or something in the sight adjusts itself to midnight and life steps almost straight. I agree. You can't go wrong with Dickinson and Walt. So this is from Leaves of Grass, but let's see. Here is from Calamus, In Paths Untrodden. In paths untrodden, in the growth by margins of pond waters, escaped from the life that exhibits itself, from all the standards hitherto published, from the pleasures, profits, conformities, which too long I was offering to feed my soul, clear to me now standards, yet not yet published, clear to me that my soul, that the soul of the man I speak for rejoices in comrades, here by myself, away from the clank of the world, tallying and talked to here by tongues aromatic, no longer abashed, for in this secluded spot I can respond as I would not dare elsewhere. Strong upon me life that does not exhibit itself, yet contains all the rest, resolved to sing no songs today, but those of manly attachment, projecting them along that substantial life, bequeathing hints, types of athletic love. Afternoon this delicious ninth month in my 41st year, I proceed for all who are or have been young men to tell the secret of my nights and days, to celebrate the need of comrades. In paths untrodden. Also, Walt Whitman, to the garden of the world. To the garden of the world, to the garden, the world anew ascending, potent mates, daughters, sons, preluding the life of their bodies, meaning and being. Curious here, behold my resurrection after slumber, the revolving cycles in their wide sweep having brought me again, amorous, mature, all beautiful to me, all wondrous, my limbs and the quivering fire that ever plays through them for reasons most wondrous. Existing, I peer and penetrate still, content with the present, content with the past, by my side or back of me, Eve following, or in front, and I following her just the same. Let me see if that one's in here, because I don't remember if that one's in which collection that one's in. Oh, there we go. 104. I could look it up on the tablet, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to read it in my book. Okay, obviously this is pretty long, but I'll do a couple of good stanzas. I sing the body electric. Start over. I sing the body electric. The armies of those I love engirth me, and I engirth them. They will not let me off till I go with them, respond to them, and discorrupt them, and charge them full with the charge of the soul. Was it doubted that those who corrupt their own bodies conceal themselves? And if those who defile the living are as bad as they who defile the dead? And if the body does not do fully as much as the soul? And if the soul were not the soul, and if the body were not the soul, what is the soul? The love of the body of man or woman balks account. The body itself balks account. That of the male is perfect, and that of the female is perfect. The expression of the face balks account, but the expression of a well-made man appears not only in his face, it is in his limbs and joints also. It is curiously in the joints of his hips and wrists. It is in his walk, the carriage of his neck, the flex of his waist and knees. Dress does not hide him. The strong, sweet quality he has strikes through the cotton and broadcloth. To see him pass conveys as much as the best poem, perhaps more. You linger to see his back and the back of his neck and shoulder side. The sprawl and fullness of babes, the bosoms and heads of women, the folds of their dress, their style as we pass in the street, the contour of their shape downwards, the swimmer naked in the swimming bath, seen as he swims through the transparent green shine, or lies with his face up and rolls silently to and fro in the heave of the water, the bending forward and backward of rowers and rowboats, the horseman in his saddle, girls, mothers, housekeepers, in all their performances, the group of laborers seated at noontime with their open dinner kettles and their wives waiting, the female soothing a child, the farmer's daughter in the garden or cow yard, the young fellow hoeing corn, the sleigh driver driving his 6 horses through the crowd, the wrestle of wrestlers, 2 apprentice boys, quite grown, lusty, good-natured, native born, out on the vacant lot at sundown after work, the coats and caps thrown down, the embrace of love and resistance, the upper hold and underhold, the hair rumpled over, and the blinding eyes, the march of firemen in their own costumes, the play of masculine muscle through cleaning trousers and waist straps, the slow return from the fire, the pause when the bell strikes suddenly again, and the listening on the alert, the natural, perfect, varied attitudes, the bent head, the curved neck, and the counting, such like I love. I loosen myself, pass freely, am at the mother's breast with the little child, swim with the swimmers, wrestle with wrestlers, march in line with the firemen, and pause, listen, count. So that's just a bit, of course, but Walt Whitman, I sing the body electric. Yeah, isn't that good? Amazing descriptions. Amazing descriptions. Here's one by Mary Oliver called White Owl Flies Into and Out of the Field. Coming down out of the freezing sky with its depths of light, like an angel or a Buddha with wings, it was beautiful and accurate, striking the snow and whatever was there with a force that left the imprint on the tips of its wings 5 feet apart, and the grabbing thrust of its feet, and the indentation of what had been running through the white valleys of the snow. And then it rose gracefully and flew back to the frozen marshes to lurk there like a little lighthouse in the blue shadows, so I thought. Maybe death isn't darkness after all, but so much light wrapping itself around us, as soft as feathers, that we are instantly weary of looking and shut our eyes, not without amazement, and let ourselves be carried as through the translucence of mica to the river, that is without the least dapple or shadow, that is nothing but light, scalding aortal light, in which we are washed and washed out of our bones. Here's another one. Catbird, Mary Oliver. He picks his pond and the soft thicket of his world. He bids his lady come, and she does, flirting with her tail. He begins early and makes up his song as he goes. He does not enter a house at night or when it rains. He is not afraid of the wind, though he is cautious. He watches the snake, that stripe of black fire, until it flows away. He watches the hawk with her sharpest shins aloft in the high tree. He keeps his prayer under his tongue. In his whole life, he has never missed the rising of the sun. He dislikes snow, but a few raisins give him the greatest delight. He sits in the forelock of the lilac, or he struts in its shadow. He is neither the rare plover or the brilliant bunting, but as common as grass. His black cap gives him a jaunty look, for which we humans have learned to tilt our caps in envy. When he is not singing, he is listening. Neither have I ever seen him with his eyes closed, though he may be looking at nothing more than a cloud. It brings to his mind several dozen new remarks. From one branch to another or across the path, he dazzles with flight. Since I see him every morning, I have rewarded myself the pleasure of thinking that he knows me. Yet never once has he answered my nod. He seems, in fact, to find me a kind of humor. I am so vast, uncertain, and strange. I am the one who comes and goes, and who knows why. Will I ever understand him? Certainly he will never understand me or the world I come from, for he will never sing for the kingdom dollars, for he will never grow pockets in his gray wings. Catbird, Mary Oliver. Real good stuff. I do another one. coming up on an hour. I'll probably skedaddle about then, but figure we'll do another one. Here's Cool Tombs by Carl Sandburg. When Abraham Lincoln was shoveled into the tombs, he forgot the copperheads and the assassin in the dust and in the cool tombs. And Ulysses Grant lost all thought of con men and Wall Street. Cash and collateral turned ashes in the dust, in the cool tombs. Pocahontas' body, lovely as a poplar, sweet as a red haw in November or a pawpaw in May. Did she wonder? Does she remember? In the dust, in the cool tombs? Take any street full of people buying clothes and groceries, cheering a hero or throwing confetti and blowing tin horns. Tell me if the lovers are losers. Tell me if any Tell me if any get more than the lovers in the dust, in the cool tombs. Let's see. Here's one by Lee Hunt called Jenny Kissed Me. Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief, who love to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary. Say I'm sad. Say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me. Lee Hunt, Jenny kissed me. Wild Nights. Can do that one. Mm. Okay. Wild nights, wild nights. Were I with thee, wild nights should be our luxury. Futile, the winds, to a heart in port. Done with the compass, done with the chart. Rowing in Eden, ah, the sea. Might I but moor tonight in thee. Let's see which one is. Oh, I like this one. If I should die and you should live, and time should gurgle on, and morn should beam, and noon should burn, as it has usual done. If birds should build as early, and bees as bustling go, one might depart at option from enterprise below. 'Tis sweet to know that stocks will stand when we with daisies lie, that commerce will continue, and trades as briskly fly. It makes the partial it makes the parting tranquil, and keeps the soul serene, that gentlemen so sprightly conduct the pleasing scene. That's a good one. Frequently the woods are pink, frequently are brown, frequently the hills undress behind my native town. Oft a head is crested, I was wont to see, and as oft a cranny where it used to be. And the earth, they tell me, on its axis turned, wonderful rotation, but 12 performed. another Emily Dickinson one here. We lose because we win, gamblers, recollecting which toss their dice again. Taken from men this morning, carried by men today, met by the gods with banners who marshaled her away. One little maid from playmates, one little mind from school. There must be guests in Eden. All the rooms are full. Far as the east from even, dim as the border star, courtiers quaint in kingdoms, our departed are. Yeah, from that one, I love that one. If when we with daisies lie, that's such a man. That's a good line. Step lightly on this narrow spot. The broadest land that grows is not so ample as the beast these eternal seams enclose. Step lofty, for this name be told as far as cannon dwell, or flag subsist, or fame export her deathless syllable. So much of heaven has gone from earth that there must be a heaven, if only to enclose the saints to affidavit given. The missionary to the mole must prove there is a sky. Location doubtless he would plead, but what excuse have I? Too much of proof affronts belief. The turtle will not try unless you leave him, then return, and he has hauled away. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. It's a good one. Good one, good one. All right, well, I am about to head off. And yeah, I'm going to make a little podcast playlist or whatever of these. So if you ever need to check out some poetry reading when I'm not actually live, why, you can do that. And if you haven't subscribed, if you subscribe, you hopefully can get notified and stuff. Let me see if that one's in here. To make a prairie. I might have to look that one up. Oh, 182. We got time for one more. To make a prairie, it takes a clover and one bee, one clover and a bee, and reverie. The reverie alone will do if bees are few. That's a good one. That's awesome. Anyway, good night. Thank you very much, Anana, for coming by, and talk to you later.